back with another How to Draw video. Today we're going to be drawing hands. Drawing hands is very difficult. If anyone tells you that it's easy, they're lying to you. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Very hard to draw hands. I'm going to start by drawing a square that's sort of tilted on its side. It may look a little bit like a diamond shape, but I'm going to do this all in time-lapse because, let's face it, there is nothing more boring than watching me draw a square. So let's go ahead and do that, and I will be right back. Okay, so here we go. We have this, it's not a perfect square. I think it's maybe a little wider than it is from top to bottom. But in any case, this is going to be the line that forms the palm of the hand, or we're going to build the palm of the hand off of it anyway. I want to begin by drawing a curving line here. This is actually the base of the fingers. If you look at your hand, you may notice that there's sort of like a curving line there where all the fingers begin, and that's what I'm doing with that. Now, one of the trickiest things, you have to, first of all, divide this area into four equal lines. And so I would say find the middle first, pretty easy to do that, and then come over here and divide that space into two, and then this space into two roughly equal spots. And what we're going to try to do here is draw the middle finger, and to get that width or length accurate, we need to sort of measure the length from here to here and try to reproduce that over here. So, you just sort of do your best eyeballing it or whatever to figure out where that point comes from here to here, equal to there. And we go back from that point to draw the middle finger. Sounds like I'm talking about giving someone the finger. I'm not going to put that into a video. This is like family time here. We don't get into that stuff here, right? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and draw the pointer finger, and notice that it comes back. You've got this finger here, and it drops back a little bit. You see that comes from your own hand. I'm basically reproducing that in my drawing. And notice also that as I am making each one of these fingers close, actually touching one another, that the lines are kind of fanning out a little bit in this direction as they come back. Now notice how short the pinky really is compared to the other ones. So you have to very drastically drop back to around here, I'd say. And of course we all know the pinky is a little sort of smaller in general from side to side, so you want to try to get that into your drawing. So we got the fingers in here. Let's go ahead and move on to one of the tougher parts, which is drawing the thumb. Before we get that, I'm gonna put a sort of a triangular shape here. This is sort of negative space that allows me to figure out where the thumb comes out, and it is going to sort of gently break into three spots. There's a very slight angle here. And then there's a second curving thing going on over here, the sort of joints of the thumb as we reach the spot here. Now, I noticed that a lot of artists will exaggerate quite a bit the joints of the thumb. They really want it to be very clear that we have this tip part here, and then the sort of base part that comes off into the hand. I don't know if it's actually that pronounced in real life, but it surely helps to make your drawings of hands look good if you acknowledge that joint there, that sort of second joint. Usually some sort of fold of flesh in here, right around where the thumb connects to the palm. So you can get a couple of lines in there like that. Let's go ahead and finish off the shape of the palm itself. Now we have this straight line here of that box. I'm going to curve off of that just a little bit. And as we come back to here, we can begin to indicate the wrist before we actually reach the edge of that box. And over here, you could probably drop in a couple of lines that delineate the bottom of the palm. And finally, to finish it off, I'm going to put one line here that's the other side of the wrist. Of course, some people have thicker wrists than others, so you can sort of adjust that line accordingly. And we're pretty much done with the contour of the thumb. Now we can get into the details. I'm going to quickly indicate some lines that people are generally trying to get some sense of the two areas down here that form the base of the palm. And then, as you know, there are all these lines, like the fortune tellers look at, oh, this is your lifeline, and this is your, I don't know. I'm just making it up, but you put in a couple of lines in here. You don't have to, I would not get carried away with making loads and loads of lines in there. Generally, less is more. Let's take this finger, split it into 3 more or less equal parts, and then come dropping down here because each of these fingers is a little shorter. Those lines are going to come further back, and then the pinky is really going to, those lines are much shorter one to the other just because of the size of the pinky itself. And this pretty much finishes off the basic lines of a palm. I thought it would be good to get this into the video. I did a video like this a while back, but I do think it's important to get the basics of what does a hand look like just when it's open flat like that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off these lines with my trusty black Prismacolor, and we'll come back to move on and talk about the other type of hand I'll be teaching here. Okay, so there you go, the sort of basic hand that you can look at to sort of learn the lengths of the various fingers and so forth, and get a sense of that before you start trying to draw the hand in more complicated positions. Let's go ahead and move on to this next one. I'm going to draw a hand holding a pen. Sometimes you want to draw a character writing something, and then you suddenly realize how tricky it is to draw that. So let's go ahead and get into that. Again, I'm going to start with a sort of time-lapse box that I'm going to draw there, but then we'll get back to drawing the hand itself. Okay, so this time I've drawn more like a rectangle. It's a sort of slanty rectangle. How's that for a technical term? We call it the slanty rectangle, we artists. Anyway, so you draw this sort of slanty-looking rectangle, and that's going to be this sort of base of the thumb here that's facing toward you now. We're going to start to build the thumb off of that, and I'm going to divide this space into 2, basically, right around here where it crosses halfway. See if you can replicate this angle. It may be helpful to look at the sort of shape of that triangle that starts there. And this is going to be the base of the thumb coming out and then bending down to hold the pen or pencil. And so let me go ahead and finish this off. I don't really have any great tips for how to do this. You just sort of have to sort of replicate as best you can these shapes. Get that into position, and then you can start to imagine that the pencil is going to come kind of across like this, like so. And once you've got that loosely indicated, we can begin to put the pointer finger. Now, people have looked at me, the way I draw, and say, man, you hold your pencil very strangely, and it's true. I had a motor scooter accident when I was in college, and it messed up my hand. But thank goodness I can still hold a pencil. And then watch how this finger line here is roughly parallel to that of the thumb when the hand is in this particular position, and it's going to cut back behind the pencil. Let's just say it's a pen. But I was going to say, whatever you do, don't draw a hand that looks like my hand, because then the fingers are like this, and people will look at your drawing and say, dude, it looks like your guy had a finger accident or something. I don't know. But that's why I based this on a photograph, actually, rather than just looking at my own hand, because I have such a strange way of holding a pencil. Anyway, we've kind of got that into position. It's time to finish off the rest of the palm. So I'm going to come down here and follow both of these lines, again, very roughly parallel to one another. This becomes the base, excuse me, of the hand. And then we have to draw the following fingers that are down underneath. Different people sort of do different things with these fingers. The photograph that I looked at had a sort of interesting arrangement. One finger comes down like this, and then the 2 fingers sort of are in line with each other underneath. I'm not an expert on on the huge variety of how people hold pens or pencils, There does seem to be an agreed upon standard, and because people will certainly look at the way I hold mine and say, man, you hold your pencil so strangely. How can you draw that way? Then again, I periodically hear from people say, hey, that's exactly how I hold my pencil. So I'm drawing the other side of the palm, and you're going to have to get a couple of lines in here that show the other sides of the pinky and maybe that second finger. So I'm going to get a line in here that is showing the base of the pinky finger folding back, and then if you imagine this second finger, what's that called? Ring finger? I always have to ask my... I'm always relying on my viewers. What are the names of these fingers? Is it finger number 1 and finger number 2? Oh, gosh. You'd think I would know these things by now, but I'm basically finishing off the rest of the hand here, putting in a little bit of a wrinkle. It's the same kind of fold of flesh that occurs right there between the thumb and the pointer finger. And as this comes back here, I have decided to make my guy wearing a shirt sleeve that comes up over here over the base, so it looks like some kind of a businessman signing an important contract. There you go, JB, $25 million. And we are almost done with this. I think some of you may have figured out what my clever little plan was here as I finished drawing the pencil, is to have this connect back. Yeah? See? You see what I did there? It doesn't quite work, does it? I don't know. But we'll see if I can fix this when I go in and do the darker line work. But I thought it would be kind of funny to show one hand drawing another hand. Oh, dude, that is so deep. It's like Inception. It's handception. A hand drawing a hand. And now this one's going to draw another. Anyway, let's go ahead before I lose my mind and finish drawing the final lines on this. Maybe I can come back and give you some final tips. Alright, well, there you have it, my video showing a hand drawing another hand. And before anyone accuses me of ripping off the artist M.C. Escher, I just want you to know, you're right. I am totally ripping off M.C. Escher here. It's pretty sad and pathetic, and I'm sure I will be hearing from the attorneys that represent the estate of M.C. Escher in the days ahead. And if my channel gets pulled down, then you'll know exactly what happened. But in the meantime, let me thank anyone who has got my manga series Miki Falls from HarperCollins, also Brody's Ghost, available now at book fairs across the country. If your school is having a book fair, I greatly appreciate it if you keep an eye out for that. But let's go ahead and lay the pencil down. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and I will be back with another one real soon.